It just had to be Randal Kolo Muani who kept Thomas Frank's show on the road. The France striker had missed Spurs' flight over to Germany after crashing his Ferrari on the M25 on the way to Stansted Airport on Tuesday. Sign up for the football newsletter. Thank you. Randal Kolo Muani fires Tottenham into the lead in GermanyCredit, Reuters. Spurs celebrate grabbing the opening goal credit. Getty. But he ended up motoring Spurs into the last 16 of the Champions League with his clever finish here, which sub Dominic Solanke added to late on. It had fans wondering whether it might just put the brakes on any decision by Spurs hierarchy to leave boss Thomas Frank by the roadside too. The Dane is under serious pressure for failing to get Tottenham out of first gear domestically, dropping to 14th in the Premier League and out of both cups. But in Europe, it has been a completely different story, just like last season under predecessor Ange Postecoglou. Read more in football. Even the most ardent Frank-out fan, and there are a lot of them among the Spurs fanbase, will have to admit he has done a stellar job in the Champions League. Muani's neat flick early into the second half at the Deutsche Bank Park sealed a top 8 finish in the group phase. That is no mean feat given the caliber of clubs that did not make it. Muani's tire blowout had seen both himself and compatriot Wilson Odobert, who pulled over in a car behind to offer moral support, take a later flight to Frankfurt than the rest of the team on Tuesday night. Most read in football. Best free bets and betting sign-up offers. Frank insisted both were in the right mind to play and they backed that claim up with impressive displays. Muani has been a big disappointment in the Premier League since joining on loan from Paris Saint-Germain, failing to score and looking unhappy. Juventus are keen to bring him back on loan themselves, but Spurs can ill afford to lose many more players given their Kroc crisis. Frank was missing 14 players here due to a mixture of injury and ineligibility, with key defenders Pedro Porro and Mickey van de Ven the latest Kroc victims. Meanwhile, Frankfurt, despite having nothing to play for, picked nearly as strong a side as they could, including 2014 World Cup final winning goal scorer Mario Götze. Spurs bossed the first half but could not make their dominance pay. Xavi Simons, regularly booed for his Bundesliga past with RB Leipzig, thought he had given the visitors an early lead when firing in from close range. Yet the goal was chalked off for a pullback on a Frankfurt defender by an offside-looking Destiny Udogie in the build-up. Dominic Solanke converts from 12 yards credit. Reuters. Solanke, 28, celebrates his clinical Spurs second credit. Reuters. Udogie had the best chance of the first half when Muani floated in a tantalizing cross which the Italian fullback rose to meet. But the defender completely missed his header, catching Odobert, who was behind Udogie, by surprise, with the ball bouncing off the Frenchman's chest and away. Odobert then cracked a post with a super drive with his weaker left foot after a fine 1-2 with Simons, but again the ball escaped to safety. Simons was alive to a poor pass out from Frankfurt keeper João Santos, whose clattering on James Maddison in April had earned Spurs' match-winning spot kick, and showed some nifty feet to open up a chance, only for his cute shot to be cleared by Santos' leg. And yet, Frankfurt could have gone into the break 1-0 up, had Hugo Larsson hit the back of the net rather than the crossbar just before the interval. Spurs capitalized on that close shave by quickly going ahead in the second half. Captain Christian Romero headed a Simons cross back across goal and there was Muani to delicately turn home. Solanke, who netted the winner here in April's Europa League quarter-final second leg that kept Postecoglou temporarily in a job, then wrapped things up. He raced onto a loose Mahmoud Dahoud header and slotted into the far corner, recommended stories. Muani's strike was only his third goal for Spurs and came against his former team Eintracht, having netted his other two against his parent club PSG in November. Losing 5-3 to the holders was no shame and the only defeat from Frank's group stage campaign, which has undeniably, and perhaps inconveniently, for some, been a success. Spurs celebrate sealing a massive result credit, Shutterstock editorial.